Hi, we have as our guest today Tony Ruesch. Tony was, well, first of all, he was on the county board a number of years ago before he ran for county clerk. He was on the county board from the year 1970 until 82, and that's the Wood County Board we're talking about. And then he ran for the office of county clerk, won that, and served on the in the county clerk's office from 1982 until he decided to retire in 2002. And that means you've been involved in what's going on in the county level at county government for 30 years, and that's a long time. And that's why we thought we would like to have you on and talk about some of the things that have happened over the years that you were involved in as a county board member, first of all, and then as a county clerk. Now, in 1970, why don't we talk a little bit about where it is that you reside and what area you represented on the county board from 70 to 82?
Well, I live in the town of Siegel, and at that time, I believe it was, I'm not sure what the district number was, but the district included the town of Siegel and the village of Vesper.
And did it still at the end of your 10 years? Because there was a census in between there in 1980, and I guess 82. Were there any lines redrawn at that time?
They may have been redrawn, but I think it was still basically the town of Siegel and Vesper was the district, and it stayed pretty much the same through while I was there, right? How
about in 1990? When the lines were redrawn after the 1990 census, was there any major difference then?
In 1990, there was some major changes in the districts, but at that time, in 1990, when they redistricted that time, there was a motion on the county board floor that no two supervisors would be put into the same district. So the district lines were pretty irregular because they had to protect the incumbent, and so the district lines were changed pretty much in 1990, but still they still stay basically the same. Mm-hmm. The population doesn't change in one area much more than another one.
In the rural areas.
In the rural areas, yeah. Especially.
Yeah. How about in 2000 or 2002? There were a lot of changes throughout the county. Was there any major change in that district then?
Yes, it was a bit of a major change in where I live also. I think I was in District 17 before. Now I'm in District 16, and yeah, it was quite a bit of change now in 2002.
Going back to 1982, why did you decide to not run for re-election to the county board and instead switch over to a campaign for the county clerk's office?
Well, I did run for the county board in 1982. I won election in 1982. That was my question.
That's what I intended to ask. Yeah, right. Now, you were running for county board and county clerk?
No, the county board election is in the spring, and the county clerk's election is in November.
I see.
And so I ran in the spring election for the county board. I won that seat there, and then I ran for the county clerk's office for the fall election and won the county clerk's seat then, and I was there from then 1982 until I retired now in March.
So after you won the county clerk's office, then you resigned from your county board job?
Right. You can't be a county employee or a county officer and be on the county board also. That's the state statutes are pretty clear on that. County employee cannot be on the county board.
And was somebody appointed then, or did they hold a special election for somebody to represent the area that you resigned from?
Right. Mr. Joe Roble was appointed at that time to the district that I represented at the time.
And Joe Roble served in that position for a long time then.
Yes, he must have been there at least, I think, 18 years. And then he retired also.
Yeah. Now, when you became the county clerk, as county clerk, you're kind of in the center of a lot of things that go on at the county courthouse, especially the county board. You sit up alongside of the county board chairman, who's elected to that position by the county board supervisors. And you, however, as a county clerk, don't get much of an opportunity to get involved in any of the discussions unless you're asked about some particulars about what the county can do in certain circumstances from a county clerk's perspective.
Well, right. The county clerk is the secretary or the record keeper for the county board, and so certainly the county clerk is involved a lot with the county board. It's interesting and kind of well, I don't know what the term you use for it, but the county clerk is always involved with the county board, but you never get in any trouble because you never have to vote on any issue. County board, you keep a record of the vote, but it's never the county clerk's vote. It's always the county board. So even though you're involved with the county board, you don't get into trouble that they get into.
Do the county board members during the 20 years that you served in that position, there was a turnover of some of the members? We had Bill Goodness in here, former county board chairman, and also who served on the county board for 10 years. Who indicated that there at times were as many as, well, I think once 13 new members, and there's been 11, 12, and when there is a bunch of new members, or even a new member who's elected to the board, do they come to the county clerk to try to get a history of what's been going on, so they know how to vote when things do come up before them to make their vote known?
Oh, sure. They come to the clerk's office for I wouldn't say a bit of direction, but at least to find or to get a feel for the format and just how the program works and the protocol and so forth. And yeah, they come to the county clerks, and that's about the only place they can go to. The county clerk, he's not the head of county government by any stretch of the imagination, but they do have a pretty good sense of what's going on in the county because they're involved with so many different things. The county clerk's office is not just one thing; it's several different things.
What are those different things?
Well, the county board is one of the big things. County board record keeping. The county clerk is the chief election official in the county. You have in charge of all the elections, which is like this year, election year. Even-numbered years, of course, are considered election years, and so there's a lot going on this year. You have charge. You're in charge of all the licenses that go out: marriage license, dog license. In the past, the county clerk in every county was an agent of the DNR for the DNR licenses, although if anyone's got a fishing or hunting license in the last couple of years, now it's a new system now, and it's connected directly to Madison, so the county clerk is not so directly affected or involved with the licenses anymore. And assessor supplies, it's just a number of different things.
Did you mention marriage licenses?
Yes, sir.
And have there been any changes in marriage license regulations during the time that you were county board county clerk?
Not during the time I was there. It's the only difference is the fee has gone up.
What was it when you left the county clerk's office?
The fee for a marriage license when I left was $60.
And what was it at the beginning?
It could have been
$60 for a what?
$60 for a marriage license.
Okay. Now, how much was it 20 years ago?
It probably was 30. But then during that time, the state came along and they put a $25 fee on, a mandatory fee, which actually stays in the county. And then I think during that time the county board added $5 to it, and so I think that comes to $60, and that's where it is now.
There was 1 year that I did a little research to find out how many marriage licenses had been issued that county, and it was somewhere that year, and it was somewhere in the vicinity of approximately 350, I believe, that year. And wait a minute, about 750.
Right. If you had 350, you were there about in July, yeah, because it's closer to 700 than 350.
Okay, and about 700 marriage licenses issued, and that same year there were about 350 divorces in Wood County. So that, I guess that, just using that statistic, about half of the marriages of people who probably over the years have applied for licenses at the Wood County Courthouse ended up in divorce.
Well, of course, the county clerk's office is not involved with anything and has to do with divorces. The county clerk's office is only involved with the marriage license, so I'm not familiar with those other statistics.
Well, we're having a delightful conversation with Tony Ruesch, a former Wood County clerk and a former representative of part of Wood County on the county board. And we'll be talking more with Tony after we have this break. We're doing a program on this station called The Gary Morgan Show. I hope that you'll be right out there watching as we have conversations with senators, assembly representatives, organization leaders, entertainers, news figures, and others who have some unique insights, details you need to know, or just some really great stories to share with you. Please tune us in on this channel. Our guest today is Tony Ruesch, a former Wood County board member, and then 20 years before he decided to retire, he became elected to the county clerk's office. And so that means he spent 30 years in the county government and has some interesting stories to tell and insights into what's been going on over the past years. Now, we were talking about marriage licenses just before the break. Do you think that there was, first of all, you said that there was an increase in the amount of money that people had to plunk down on the counter in order to get a marriage license. It went up to $60. And because of a mandatory amount that was added on by the state? Or is it something that the state legislature passed that made it possible for the county to add on? Or was it a mandatory thing?
Well, the counties can set any fee they wish for marriage licenses. There might have been a time when the state set the fee for marriage license, but now counties can set their own fee. But the $25 that the state added on was a mandatory fee at that must have been 10, 12 years ago. And but the $25 did still stay in the county. it didn't get passed on to the state.
And how long before you retired from the county clerk's office was it that $60 went into effect? Was it a couple years?
Oh yeah, that's been at least 6 or 8 years, I think, that the $60 fee was there.
Was there any noticeable change in the number of the average number of marriage licenses that were issued in a year after that went up to $60?
That's a good question. When I first got into the clerk's office, there was at least 700 marriage licenses a year, but the number has been going down each year since.
Do you think it has anything to do with that raise?
I don't know. It's a good question. I never thought of that, but...
or is it just because lifestyles have changed?
I have no idea why the change, but the number of licenses has gone down. And so now it's probably closer to 600 than 700. Okay,
well, let's see. 600 at $60, that's, what is that? Is that $36,000 a year?
Right, but of course a part of that is state money.
Yeah.
It doesn't all stay in the county.
The county only gets the $25, is that right?
I believe the state gets $25 out of the 60.
Okay, so before the raise, there was still a part of it, but a smaller part that was kept at the county level.
Right.
Okay. Now, for that particular fee, does the county take out their share of it before they pass on the rest of the money to the state, or does it all go to the state and then the state returns some of that money as part of the revenue sharing?
No, that's one item that the state doesn't demand the money right away. In March of each year, then there's a settlement has to be made to the state for the marriage license fee that are due the state. Their portion is due to them, and that's paid out in March of each year for the preceding year.
Well, we have about 8 minutes left, and we need to talk about a few other things. When you first became a county clerk, I think it was, that you mentioned that there was one of the major issues was where to locate a landfill for the county?
Right. At that time, a landfill was a big issue. The county was looking for a place to locate a landfill. The town small landfills were all being closed by the state, and so the logical place then for the county was for the county to develop a landfill. A lot of places were suggested, but nobody wanted a landfill in their township or in their backyard, and then it ended up that the Torque landfill was started, and that continued, and there was no arguments from that time on.
And of course the Torque landfill is no longer a Torque landfill. It's
it's Superior landfill now. Yeah. Superior Cranberry Creek landfill, but it's the same location.
Yeah, the Superior is the same outfit that has the recycling, and
I believe so.
They're heavily into garbage. It's the kind of business that they like to be called a trashy business.
Yeah, must be.
Now, there's another thing that happened over the years, and I don't know if a lot of people know about this. There are probably some older people in the audience who do remember that there was discussion back before the Central Wisconsin Airport was located at Mosinee, where to locate the Central Wisconsin Airport. And it's my understanding that a part of the airport would have been up around Junction City, I think, wasn't it?
I think I've heard that. That airport was actually before I got on the county board, and I'm not real sure. But at that time, Wood County decided not to become part of the Central Wisconsin Airport, and so then it was up to Portage and Marathon County to decide where to locate it.
As you recall, was part of a portion of the proposed airport at that time, would it have been located in Wood County?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know.
Something else that we could talk about, I guess, is the University of Wisconsin system. And how is Wood County involved in that? There's a campus at Marshfield, and that's called the Marshfield Wood County campus of UW and University of Wisconsin. And does the county participate in any big way in financing that campus?
Right. Wood County and the city of Marshfield share the cost of the physical plant and the upkeep of it. Any of the instruction, the professors and so forth are paid for by the university system. So it's the agreement was, and it still is, and it continues, that Wood County and the city of Marshfield each pay half of the physical plant there.
And what does half amount to?
I'm not sure, but it's well, a couple of years ago there was a little over $1 million bond issue for some improvements that took place there, and right now I think there's about $500,000 worth of capital outlay for some equipment and some buildings remodeling or upkeep that's going on. So it's a sizable amount, but it's probably good that it's located here in Wood County. It's just another asset that Wood County has that we can be proud of. And of course, county government is a good government, a good level of government, but a lot of times they're not involved as much as they should be. But here's a case with the University Center in Marshfield that they are involved, and it's working out well.
How long has the UW Center been at Marshfield?
I believe that was in the late 60s, 67, 68, somewhere around there.
So that was while it was just a little bit before you became a member of the county board.
Time, right.
Yeah, you became a member of the county board in '70, and then county clerk in 1982. So you didn't get any vote in that matter?
I never got a vote on that one, no.
Okay.
You can't hold me accountable for that one.
Well, I think that the UW Center at Marshfield has educated a lot of young people who have gone out and gotten jobs in Wisconsin Rapids, Marshfield. And unfortunately, there's as is the case in a lot of communities, I guess, where there's people who get educated, local people who get educated in the local area don't necessarily stay around the local area, and that's because the kind of jobs that they're training for aren't available.
That's probably true.
Do you think that the county board, the Wood County Board, should get more involved in the creation of areas and encouragement of new businesses to locate in those areas, to create jobs so that people can stay around and continue to populate the area and add to the tax base?
I'm not sure how much the county could contribute to that, but whatever they could contribute to it, it would be to the county's advantage. I'm sure it would.
Yeah, especially now, I would imagine that a lot of the paper mills are cutting back, and it just seems to be continuing to happen, not just with Stora Enso, but Domtar was recently in the news again about closing down a couple of machines, which affects jobs. And there are a lot of major employers around other than that who employ to a lesser degree. But if there was more of a variety of types of employment that were available, there, people who found themselves without work for one reason or another would have something to go to. And it would be nice if all of the municipal governments in Wood County would join together to create a a welcome atmosphere for new businesses.
Well, sure, that would be good, and I'm not sure that they're not doing that. The Chamber of Commerce's work together. I think that they're not, certainly are not adversaries. They're working together on this and doing what they can. Maybe that's an argument that could be used to have some kind of a head of county government.
What kind of a head?
Maybe a county executive.
Okay.
County administrator that could actively work on projects like that.
Yeah, that's something that's been thrown around from time to time, having a county administrator. And unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about it right now. Perhaps at some future time. We've been talking with Tony Ruesch, a former county clerk for 20 years, from the year 82 to 2002, and before that on the county board for 10 years, from 1970 until 82. I'm Gary Morgan, and thanks for watching.